Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created an online shop using Wix. So I'm going to show you how to set up the site at a high level. I'm going to show you how I added products, how I customized the design, made sure it worked on mobile, added shipping, and also how I used their SEO planner. It's a great tool, especially for your own site, because you want to make sure that people can find you when they Google and see search results for whatever they want to Google. You want to make sure you show up in those results. So to get started, we are going to create our site, which includes adding a domain. So if you're on the Wix.com website, you can click on Create New Site at the top. And then from here, you'll be asked some questions to understand what kind of site you want to create. We're going to do an online store, and I'm going to use the editor. This is kind of a fun part because you get to pick a template that you want to use for your shop. So take your time and go through these, but I already know which one I'm going to use, and it's the one called Accessories Store. You can click on View to get a little sneak peek of what it looks like. And then if you just click on Edit, you're already in your site editing mode. So I'm just going to get right into it and change the name of the site to the name of my site, which is Return to Sender Co. So I'm not going to get too much into design right now. I'm going to just hit publish to move forward, and it's going to ask me to choose a domain. So this is where you can actually enter in a domain that you want using Wix.com, or you can connect one that already exists. I have one that already exists, so I'm going to choose the connect your own customized domain option. Wix is pretty great because they hold your hand throughout this process, which can be kind of confusing if you're not used to it. So you just basically follow their prompts and their buttons, and at this stage you enter in the domain that you want to connect with the ending. So mine is returntocenderco.ca, and then it just tells you what you need to do. So I have mine with a site called DreamHost, so I logged in and made the adjustments there. They tell you what you need to do and how to do it. So for instance, I just need to copy those name servers and then put them in the right spots in DreamHost. Once you're done, you can click on the refresh button on Wix's site, and then Wix checks to see if you've applied those correctly. And then once it's verified, you're pretty much good to go. So that was the big first step. Now you have an actual website that you can go and visit. That part is done, and now we just need to set up the site. Wix dashboard has all of the items in your to-do list. First, I'm actually going to add products because it is a store, so that is the most important part. I removed all of the ones that came with the site, and I'm just starting from fresh. So I clicked the create product and chose physical. And now I'm uploading images. It's really easy. The interface basically tells you what to do, and you can use images that are on your computer or in the Wix library as well, which is really nice. So once I have those uploaded, I'm just gonna enter them or click on them to add them. You can move these around, and you can also crop them and edit them using the Wix editor. I'm gonna start entering the information for my item. First, I'm gonna start with the product name. You want to use something that does describe the product quite well, just for SEO purposes. They also have a cool option called ribbon. This just adds like an overlay ribbon. To make things easier for myself, since I already have an Etsy store, I'm actually just going to copy and paste a lot of the information from that store. Wix does have a rich text editor, which is cool because you can make things bold or lists or change the color. You can add links. So it definitely has a lot of functionality to make it your own. Whereas, for example, Etsy is just plain text. So you can do a lot here. With Etsy, I do have a super long listing text because I also have shipping in there and other stuff, but you'll notice that with Wix, there's other areas for you to do that. So for example, that info section where I added a return policy, there's places where you can add that sort of thing. I also have a custom text field because this item is customizable, so you can have that as a mandatory field. And then you also have product options. So this allows you to add like a size or a color. So for my product, for example, it can come with a handle or without a handle, or it can be a self-inking stamp. The self-inking is a different price, so I am going to click on manage pricing. You'll notice the charge is plus or minus, so this is actually on top of or less than your base price. So I already put in a price. For self-inking, it is $25 more. So it tells you right beside it, it's $75. I also entered in the weights for my shipping, and that is an optional way to do that, but it's good for when you're setting up your shipping later. So this is what the page looks like. I have 2 products now, and this is what it looks like when you click into the product to view the details. You can see all the pictures here and the finishes that I added. One thing I forgot to do was connect the images. So when you select a finish in that listings page, you can have the correct image show up once it's selected. So for the stamps with a handle, I'm going to select those, and then for without, I'm selecting that image. That way, when the buyer clicks on the finish that they like, they can see it right away, and it just adds a bit of assurance of what you're actually buying. And this is the input where you would add your custom text. So now that we've added our products, we want to add collections. You want to have collections because you need a way to filter and sort through all your products. For me, I have rubber stamps, acrylic stamps, and embossers, as well as ink on this page. So I would like to put those into areas. You can see by default there were some already added like bags because I picked the accessories template. So you can remove those, and then you can also create brand new ones. This will also make it easier for navigation because you can add collections as pages. You can also go into the collections page and then update the cover photo that is belonging to it. I don't know if this changes on the page itself. For me and for my template, this didn't really make a difference. It just, I guess, is something for me because it organizes it visually. And you'll also be able to use these collections on shop pages as filters. So if you have rubber stamps, but maybe with a handle or without a handle, you can use that collection name as a filter. So that also comes in handy. But yeah, these are all my collections, and you'll see how I use them later on. So the next part is designing your site. This is probably the largest part. I mean, except for adding products, because that is quite time consuming, but designing can also be time consuming. So I'm not going to show you everything, but I am going to show you some high level things. My first thing that I want to do is change this banner image. This is your hero image, what everybody sees when they land on your page. Wix does have a bunch of stock images that you can choose from, which is nice if you don't have any, or you can upload your own, which is what I'm going to do. Once it's uploaded, you can also edit it and crop it. There's lots of editing tools that they have built in. You can also change some of the settings, so where it sits or how it moves when you scroll the page. There's lots of different things that you can change. Right now I'm just changing how it looks on the page, if it's full screen or if there's margins on the left and right side. So now that I've got that in a good place, I'm going to actually just change my top header. This is your brand, your logo, so it should reflect that. I did try and play around with some fonts. I did feel like this one kind of suited my brand, but later on you'll see I changed that for my logo. You can also change your nav bar. They have a bunch of preset like templates to play around with. This is the one I chose where it just has the active state as a block of color and then a hover with a similar style. But you can choose one that they already have existing, and then you can also go into that and customize it. So I'm also going to customize my fonts overall. If you go into the themes page, you can choose your site colors. These are colors for your buttons, your backgrounds, and some of your fonts and icons. So just choose colors that you think would look good together. They have palettes that already exist that you can choose from, but I'm going to choose one that's a little bit closer to my brand. And same thing goes with the fonts. So if you click on the preview button, you can see what it looks like without being in the editor. So that gives you just a quick way to decide if you like it before you hit publish. But I pretty much published a lot of my changes just because I wanted to see how it looked actually live. So I'm going back to the header now, and I thought it was too tall. So I'm changing the height to something a little bit tighter just to take up less of the page, and then that also adjusted where my image sat. You can also choose the animation. Like I said before, when you scroll, it can have like a parallax effect. I chose just a static so that when you scroll, it just scrolls with the page. So one cool thing about Wix is they have text ideas. So when you click on a header, there's a button that says get text ideas, and you can enter the kind of site into the search box and then the type of messaging you want. So for me, I needed some text for this header and I had no idea what to write. So I actually chose make a statement from their bank of copy ideas. They also do paragraphs, not just headers. So this was really helpful for me because I'm terrible when it comes to making up copy that people want to read. I'm not that great with words. So I find this to be a really helpful tool, especially when you're just getting started on your site. That's kind of like the last thing that you want to deal with. So when you have most of your design done, or even during the process of when you're starting on the design, you definitely want to check the mobile view because a lot of people are going to be viewing your site on mobile. Wix makes that pretty easy. You just click on the mobile icon and then they kind of guide you through the different options that you can choose from for mobile. So you just want to play around with those and see what works, and then you're able to design the mobile without affecting the desktop. So you can see here that I am going to move things and just adjust the way that they're laid out. It does look a little bit different than the desktop, but that's okay because it's being optimized for mobile. Things like the main button, I actually made smaller, and the text I made smaller. So there's just some tweaks. It looks pretty good off the bat, but there's just some small things that I wanted to do just to make it look like it was meant for a mobile phone. And you can check all of the pages just to make sure that they look good. The rest of the shop pages looked great, so I didn't have to do much work there. It was mostly my homepage and then the other pages like contact and about. So I finished my design for the most part, and I thought I'd give you a little walkthrough. This is what turned out to be the homepage. So the nav looks a little different. I also have some drop-down options for shop. I also have an Etsy shop page just to show you as an example. You can embed your Etsy page on a Wix site. As you can see, it takes a long time to load, much longer than the shop page. And you don't purchase from this site. It's basically a link to your Etsy store, but it does show all the products, which is kind of cool if maybe you're not ready to sell your products on this site, but you just want to use it so that your brand has a website, which I think is very important. You can see I also have the currency drop down, and I'll just scroll through the homepage. I have my gallery, like a slider of my rubber stamps and acrylic stamps, and then just some high level links and my Instagram and then my footer. So pretty basic stuff, but I think it makes an impact. And if you click on shop, it shows you all of the items I have for sale, or you can go into some of the drop down options and be more specific about the items that I have. And those are actually the collections that I had mentioned earlier. And this is what it looks like when it's on my iPhone 12 mini, which is a smaller phone than most, but it looks really great and I'm really proud of how it turned out. It also didn't take me a super long time, but I think it looks really professional and it kind of looks like it took a long time if you ask me. If you're having troubles with design, just check out your favorite e-commerce site and see what they're doing. So next, Wix offers your SEO plan. This is super important because you want people to find your site. It doesn't have a built-in traffic like Etsy, so you have to bring in your own traffic. And the way that you're going to do that is by getting found on Google. So they have a whole area on the dashboard where you can set this up. And it just, again, walks you through similar to when you're adding a domain. So you just answer the questions and then it basically tells you what you need to enter and where. So once I hit the Create SEO Plan button, it'll kind of have a checklist that I need to go through. One of the first items that it will ask you to do is connect with Google. So you'll just need to do that with your Gmail account and it's pretty easy. And the rest of it is very much by amping up your products, your collections, your navigation items, and your page names with SEO. So if you go into your editor and you click on the pages and you click on the SEO Google tab, you'll see there's areas for you to type. So just follow the tips that Wix provides and enter in any of the information that is required. You want to make sure, for example, here it says, what's the page about? Add a description. So I added what I thought would be a good description. And you'll see when I click save and go back to the Wix dashboard, it recommends in the checklist that I need to add keywords. And the keywords are actually those 3 words or tags that I had entered while it was leading me through that mini questionnaire at the beginning. So you just want to make sure that you enter those into the description because those are the keywords that this is now associating with your business. You can also add SEO to your images with the tags, and you want to also add images to things like when you share on social media because usually thumbnails are associated with it. So there's a lot of little tweaks that need to get done, but Wix does a good job of kind of leading you through that and telling you what will help with your business and where to do that. Next up is shipping and payment, which is super important for an online shop. You can see on my Wix dashboard, it's already telling me I have a next step, which is setting up my regions. Regions are basically the areas where you're going to ship, and you can organize them so that you can have maybe Canada as one region for me because I'm in Canada, so I have a flat rate for that. And then I have US as a region, and then European countries as another, and then I kind of have one as rest of world. You can also offer a local delivery or pickup with any of those regions if you so choose to, which is pretty handy, especially for right now when people are doing a lot of curbside pickup options. So you might be able to tell, but I have a yellow bar at the top that's telling me to add payment methods. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to offer credit card, debit cards, and PayPal. PayPal is pretty easy to set up. You just do that with your PayPal account. And credit cards and debit cards, they have set up with Stripe, which is what they use for Canada, but that might be different for other countries. And if you want to, you can change your provider as well. Again, these are for Canada, so you can do Square or Braintree. So it allows you a few options, and then you're now able to take that payment method, which means my shop is good to go. I've got my products, I've got the design, I've got the shipping, and I've got the payment. So people can actually go buy from my shop now, which is pretty cool. So let me know what you think about my shop site. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The theme that I chose pretty much had everything good to go. I just wanted to customize it so it fit my brand. I think what takes the longest is just putting in all your products and information and just making sure that it's exactly how you want it. I know they do have some import tools if you have your products in a CSV file, so that would cut the time down significantly. If you have any questions about what I showed you, please leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time.